Right, so these are 10 changes that IGG needs to implement, and here are 5 that will ruin it. So, to start off, the ones that obviously they could use, I think they need to rework KVK, make it more like Chalice, Baron, because it's been obvious to people for quite a while now that if you go into Baron and Chalice, you get points for hitting forts and base and so on and so forth, which then you go into a shop and you can use to redeem items and pieces and stuff. I think they need to implement something like that for KVK, but they need to rework KVK in general because the way that they pair kingdoms up, being that, one kingdom's by another, it only works until you're in like kingdoms like ours where, there's 1,000 plus of them now and the numbers and population of it so thin, it doesn't make a lot of sense for them to continue to do that. The next thing that they need to do is rework Guild Fest paid events because it's a little silly to expect people to compete in a race over who's going to be number one when some of those quests, and especially the points rating to them, is kind of luck based. And so, in some ways, it doesn't make any sense to make an event that's paid like that and then also make it luck based. It's like you're basically forcing only a select number of people, and in some ways that kind of prevents people from being able to even have a chance at winning in an event like that. I'm not really sure what the point of that even is. Like they really shouldn't do that. The third thing they need to do is I think they need to consider looking at making the world map a little easier to navigate. Because if I put in the number of a kingdom, I don't immediately know why I can't, go to a kingdom until I click and hit migrate. And sometimes I'll see some kingdoms that, it's like, oh yeah, if you can go to kingdoms 1100 and higher, this is because of X, Y, and Z. And then having to scroll to try and find the kingdom is kind of a little annoying. It's like I feel like they need to rework the map a little bit so the interface is easier to navigate because it just takes a while to get to places. It's not that you can't do it, it's just kind of time consuming. The other thing is bookmarks. All right. This is kind of the fourth thing that really comes to mind, but I think it'd be nice if we could tag guilds in a kingdom as enemies, allies, and so on, and actually make it so that, much in the same way like when you have kingdom hunters, it would be nice to be able to tag guilds and then we could identify each guild by like a color code of some kind. It'd be kind of cool if we could actually identify them that way. It's just a thought, but I think it would really help as far as people that are already kind of having to do this manually themselves by going by their tags. I just think it's something that they could implement. It wouldn't be that challenging to do, I don't think. The fifth thing that comes to mind is that we need a way to trash our old items. We can do this during Guild Bash, but I think it would be kind of nice if we had a shop where we could just redeem old items. And I don't care if we get piss poor at next to nothing, but it would be nice to be able to take a lot of these old items that are sitting in the bag and convert them into something that, whether that's a currency or something, where we could redeem those quantities of old items and put them into something else that might be of some value to us for some other purpose. Just a thought, but I think it would be nice to have. The other thing, and this is number 6 on my list, is I think we need an auto transmute button now that we have an auto darkness button. I can go out, auto darkness for 8 hours, and I got a bunch of essences. But why would I want to wait 10 hours, click, and then come back, click, come back, click every 10 hours? It doesn't make any sense. Why not, if you're going to make an auto darkness button, go one step further, make an auto transmute button. Just saying, sounds like a cool idea to me. The 7th idea I have is I think they need to revisit kingdom castles. And I'm not talking about your castle, your personal castle. I think guilds ought to be able to customize their own kingdom that they're in possession of. I think it'd be kind of cool. It's an idea that I've had in my mind before, but a lot of castle skins are kind of generic. You got dragon, dwarf, different types of castle skins. But it'd be even more interesting if we could customize, the actual castle skin itself, giving guilds the ability to even customize where they live. I think that'd be kind of cool. But again, more or less an idea. The 8th idea I have is that they need to bring back the autumn event where you could actually go around and hit monsters for resources. I mean, it's not really clear as to why they quit doing this, but it would be nice to see that event come back because it was really nice to be able to go around hitting those monsters for resources, whether that be food, wood, timber, you name it. It was easier to build accounts back then, and it was a lot easier on the populace, I think, in general, when they were starting out. So I'm kind of surprised that they don't kind of bring this back. But it's another one of those events that I think would be nice to see. The 9th event of ideas I have is the Slytherin snake. So kind of like how we used to have, we had like Bon Appetit at one point. We also had the snake, and then we had Phantom Knight. I'd like to see a rotation of those, like Phantom Knight, instead of just seeing Phantom Knight every time. Because in some ways, more than one, it's kind of weird that you see Phantom Knight every time. I feel like it's a little bizarre that we don't see those older heroes and monsters anymore. And so I kind of feel like they need to bring these back because it was kind of nice to have a rotation that kind of came cyclic in some fashion. And I think it would be kind of cool to see something like that come back. The last and final suggestion I say that they should do is they need to find a unique solution to camps. Because right now they only take up an area, and I feel like they could do so much more, but yet they don't really do a whole lot of anything other than take up a space. It could be one troop, it could be 375,000. It'd be interesting if like a camp could be used for more than that, though. Like if you could stack more than 375,000 in a single camp, for example. If people could then start building walls of troops around themselves as opposed to like, because then it would actually give camps a little bit more purpose than just one troop camps out and around. It's an idea, but I noticed that it's kind of one of those features that doesn't make a lot of sense. It's the way it is currently used. And now for the 5 things that would definitely ruin the game. Okay, I think if they add leader skins like they've been doing, and they continue to add them where it's stacking up a percentage rate and giving people abilities, but they pay lock it so that only people that have spent thousands of dollars are going to get to it, yeah, I think that's the wrong direction to go in. I don't think you should do that. I think that sucks. As it's being implemented, it sucks. It actually sucks. That they can do a skin for a leader, but you're not going to be able to buy it, let alone use it, without spending stupid amounts of money. It just seems silly to me that they would pay lock something like that. There's no point in adding it if you're going to pay lock it that badly. Okay. The second thing is the collaboration castle skins. I've never been a fan of them. I'm still not a fan of them. And honestly, what is the point in collaboration skins and heroes and stuff like that if you can't even obtain them after the event is ended? And this also goes true for like even artifacts now. There's no balance, and it's a problem because now what about all the players that don't have? And how about all the people that are coming into the game that are new? It actually introduces a player base that has advantages that the newer player base doesn't have, and for the few that didn't even obtain it. So I feel like that's kind of messed up. Like they need to do something in some fashion. I don't care if it's a collaboration store or something, but give people the access to get to those skins and those heroes to even the playing field, because otherwise I just feel like it's kind of stupid that you'll do a collaboration and then not have access to those same items after the fact. It's just silly to me. The fourth thing, and this is something that everybody's always known about, is it's the bots situation in regards to not only just like resource bots and stuff, but shield bots, and the whole issue regarding like people that have gone around and abused bots in the past. And we've seen situations where like people would get banned for it and then unbanned shortly after. It's kind of silly to think that we're, watching this unfold. We see a lot of these major kingdoms, but yet people are riddled and abusing this. And it's just silly to me that, that the game has gotten to that point where you don't really see anything being really done. It's just, well, if we know about it, we'll try and do something. It's like, but really, what are you doing? It's like something has to be done, but it's not clear what exactly is being done. And the fifth, which is, I think, a really obvious thing, is, if they don't add content. Obviously, up until now, we've been all right. It's, a couple of months dragged in. Here and there, we get an update. All right, no big deal. But I feel like a lot of these updates, in some ways more than one, they don't introduce mechanics and things that would help the general free-to-play player. And it's not making it easy even on the mid-play. That there's not enough content there that they've added to really make or break the game. But in some ways, it almost puts a sour taste in your mouth every time they do an update. And for that reason, I feel like they need to do more to kind of add more event-based modes and things that, like ratio mode and others, are quality of life updates that I would like to see more of. Those are the kind of updates that honestly have done more good in the community than bad, and so I'd like to see more of that. Needless to say, those are the changes and the things that I think would also ruin what's mobile. Thank you guys for watching.